This is where we get into our specific wavelengths. So if you are in an area that has a large ethnic population, you should listen up, because the diode, although it can be used, we have one on the Optimus. There's a handpiece on the Optimus that's specifically tuned for darker skinned individuals. And then the contrast to that is if you have a very fair skin. Remember, what are these lasers looking for? I told you the chromophore is melanin, is pigment in the skin. If I am very fair, let's say blonde or red hair, very thin, faint, fair, white or blonde hair, that's a hard one for the laser to pick up because it's specifically looking for melanin. There's not much melanin in a blonde or a white hair, right? So those people are challenging. The other side of the equation, dark skin individuals, there's melanin everywhere. They're challenging because we don't want to burn them up. So that's why these two handpieces exist, where we have taken the diode laser, blended it with more safe wavelengths or more aggressive wavelengths, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on. If you're the fair-skinned blonde hair, it's a more aggressive wavelength blended with the 810 to create more efficiency. So we've taken the 810 and we've ramped it up or scaled it back, depending on who's sitting in your chair. So let's start with the fusion light. So the fusion light is where we take, I fast forwarded too much. The fusion light is where we take a 755, which is a more aggressive wavelength. We blend it with that 810. So now all of a sudden, when I've got my very fair-skinned patient that's got red hair, blonde hair, now I'm searching much more, with much more precision for melanin, and it's going to find it with that 755. The fusion dark is at 810. Uh-oh, time out. I've got a darker skinned individual, a 4 or 5 or 6. There's melanin everywhere. We got to be careful. So now we water it down a little bit by going the other way with a 1064, and we blend that wavelength in there to make it safer. So to summarize all this, we've got our diode, this kind of everyone in the middle of the road. Then we've got our fusion light, fusion dark. At the end of the day, we've melded wavelengths for safety. So this is the point of this, for safety and for efficiency. Safety and efficiency. So when you look at the data, when you look at this data of the lights, 84% at 6 months with 3 treatments. That's significant. That's significant compared to alternatives, or where we've come from in the hair removal market. For the fusion dark, 81% at 3 treatments at 6 months. This is glide mode. Because of the amount of energy that we can put, let me back up. Because of the amount of energy that we can put over time, because this laser is so powerful, we can put this thing in glide mode, and we can lay down a lot of pulses quickly. So think about this. When you have, those of you that do laser hair, think about an adult male and you're doing their back. Or think about an adult female and you're circumferentially doing, the entire from hip all the way down to ankle. That can be time consuming depending on your setup. I remember where I started was in the Luminesce world. Great, great hair removal device way back in the day, but just really, really, really slow. It took forever. So I don't know what you're working with, but if that's where you're coming from, I want you to see what glide mode looks like. This is 5 pulses per second in glide mode on any of those hand pieces. So think about that male back or that circumferential entire leg, and think about being able to treat at this speed. Pretty efficient, yeah. Right? Now, when we come to our darker skinned individuals, I can't lay down that much energy that quickly because we'll burn them up. So in glide mode, depending on the settings, I may only get 3 pulses per second in skin types 5s and 6s.
Down to a stubble. So I want
but it's still very efficient. I want you to see what 3 pulses per second looks like.
Then we do a little test spot, and we'll wait 4 or 5 minutes. We look for peripheral edema and erythema. There should be a modest snappy feeling, but no pain. When you got those good endpoints, and you're ready to go. Slide and glide, slide and glide. We're moving about 1 centimeter per second, and we're pre-cooling, parallel cooling, and post-cooling. That means as we glide, we pre-cool, parallel cool during the treatment.
So
and
that's
post-cool
3
for a
pulses per
nice, even,
second in
homogeneous
glide
treatment.
mode for
Overlap of
our
about 5 or
Fusion Dark.
10%, and we do the
Again, results, if you guys need settings, those are on there for you. Not super exciting, but here's what I find actually exciting is in darker skinned individuals, because if you do hair, you know these are the challenging ones. You got to go so low and so slow. To see total clearance in type 6s like this is something special. There's very few devices on the market that can safely handle 4, 5s, and 6s.